Hey everyone, welcome to the monthly Facebook Live. Okay, so what are we talking about today? So last time we talked about allocating your money, and it's obviously very important because one of the most common questions a lot of people have is what should I invest in? And that all depends on, of course, what you're going to do, what your goals are. So then we have to go through like your personal finances and determine, well, if you're saving money for the short term or you're looking to spend money in the short term, you're not investing that. But if you have nothing, you don't know what to do with your money, or you're you're looking to buy something like 5-10 years down the road, you're investing that. Now, why is it important? Okay, capital allocation is obviously, the purpose of it is, well, you want to make sure you are putting your money to work efficiently, right? Because if you have money just sitting around and you don't know what you're doing with it, you have no immediate purchases, you want to put it to work, you have to invest it and earn a return. Okay, remember this, if your money is not working for you, you're going to be working for the rest of your life. Okay, that's why investing is so important. That's why I'm doing all of this and why I educate people on this. But capital allocation, okay, is also very important, super important for companies. And that is one of the various reasons why companies are successful. And if you look at the characteristics of very successful companies, you will see that they are efficient at allocating their capital. And the one thing, or one or two metrics they look for will be return on equity, but really it's return on invested capital. So that means what kind of return are they getting for the money that they are deploying to work, whether it's expanding their operations, they're launching a new product, they're expanding their business overseas. They want to make sure that they're earning a return for every dollar that they deploy. And obviously it works both ways, as an individual and for companies as well. So I wanted to share with you a book that I just finished reading by Speziale. Okay, he wrote this book called Capital Compounders, How to Beat the Market and Make Money Investing in Growth Stocks. So I really like this book because it's an easy read, and for those of you who are looking to, be bold and you want to pick your own stocks, and I know a lot of you want to do that because, hey, that's how you earn above average returns. But I always say, if you're going to earn above average returns, if you want that, you're going to have to put in a little bit more effort. So I do recommend this book because it's very modern. Okay, it's not like those old textbooks where they're talking about case studies involving Blockbuster, right? No, this is very new, very recently published, and he talks about not just the common he doesn't just talk about investors, like older investors, like Warren Buffett, Philip Fisher, Peter Lynch. He talks about them, but he also encompasses, he interviews hedge fund managers and other portfolio managers that are not of that generation. And Robin himself is young. He's younger than myself. So he takes all of the characteristics of all these great investors, and he just basically summarizes it in that book. And you will see the common themes amongst all of these investors. Okay, so these are like the fundamentals. They don't get old. Okay, they stick around. It's gonna be the same characteristics. It's gonna be just the fundamentals are the same. Like quality businesses, there's a formula certain things that they have to follow if they're gonna be very successful. And efficient allocation of capital, okay, allocating their money properly and making sure they earn returns for their shareholders is one of them. So that is one of the common themes throughout that book, and those that is one characteristic that all of these successful investors, they often look for in businesses. I'm not going to talk about how it is calculated. It's not hard. It's not difficult. But I also want to talk about some of the other things that successful companies have. So again, in case you want to start picking your own stocks, you'll know what to look for. But I want to make you familiar with these terms as well, because I don't expect you to understand all of this right away. But if you just become familiar with the terms that I'm throwing at you, you'll be like, oh, okay. And it's not difficult. I promise you, it's not difficult to understand. But I want you to become familiar with this. And one of the main reasons I encourage this is because I started the Sassy Investor wanting to teach women how to pick stocks. And then I quickly realized, okay, most people should not be picking their own stocks because they're not even doing the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is you're going to be investing in index funds. Okay, long term, you're going to earn an average return, and that's it. Okay, if that's all you want to do, that's fine. At least you're earning an average market return. But if you want to earn above average returns and you want to start picking your own stocks, okay, there are a few things you have to look for. And that's what I was trying to do initially, because I realized there's so many female entrepreneurs out there. Okay, a lot of business owners. We're in an era where anyone, like so many people just want to start their own businesses, right? But how do you do it? Like, what do you do with the money that you've saved up, and like how are you going to use it, right? But mainly you're going to come to a point in your business where you're going to need money. You're going to need investors, or you're going to maybe sell your business. So what are you going to do? Like you have to understand what your business is worth, and that all comes with valuations, understanding how to value your own company. Okay, that's part of the stock picking process, because you want to make sure you're not buying expensive stocks. You're not overpaying. And that's one of the things I do teach my audience. I teach everyone is don't overpay for things. I talk about bubbles. I talk about when things don't make sense. That's when you should stay away. But mainly, yeah, if you want to eventually start your own business, and there's gonna come a point in time where you're gonna have to understand what your business is worth. But mainly, not just the numbers, looking at understanding companies, successful companies. You will know characteristics of good companies, successful companies, so that when you do have your own business, you know what to do for yourself and how to build a solid company that fends off competitors and that makes it attractive for investors, or ultimately if you want to sell your business, you'll know exactly what your selling points are. But mainly, good characteristics of a business means, well, like you're going to have a successful business. You're going to make money. That's ultimately one of the reasons why we pursue entrepreneurship, is not just to make money, but of course you're trying to help people solve a problem, or you're doing something that you absolutely believe in and you're very passionate about it. So those are my reasons for why you should, why it's good to understand characteristics of good businesses, and seeing that allocating capital, okay, that's very important. And also for yourself. I'm always going to be bringing up examples of comparing businesses and individuals, okay? They're not too far off. We all want to make money. And mainly, we all want to be putting our money to work and being efficient with everything that we bring in. And that includes not spending everything on, goodies and stuff. You want to make sure that you're allocating a healthy portion to your investments, because your investments will grow your net worth. It will grow your wealth. So, and then I just want to mention a few more things that in the book. I'm not gonna give away too much just because I do prefer you read it. But these are a few. I'm gonna go through a few more characteristics of solid businesses, and of course that will apply to you as well. So these investors, these very successful investors, what they also look for in good companies to invest in. So return on invested capital, sustained high profit margins. They want to make sure that they're earning, what the revenue that they bring in versus all the expenses that it costs to generate that revenue. That there's a big gap, that they're earning healthy profit margins, and that they're sustainable, not just like for a short period of time. They have to be sustainable. Cash flow positive. So cash flow is king when it comes to businesses. The companies that generate a lot of cash, okay, very healthy. They can fend off economic downturns. They don't have to be borrowing money from the bank. They don't have to go. They don't have to be raising money from shareholders. They're self-sustained because they're pumping out cash, and then that goes with a strong balance sheet. So same as an individual, you want to make sure you're generating cash, you're like making money, and your expenses are not through the roof, right? You want to make sure you're not buying something that costs not just like a lot of money, but you're leveraging yourself. That, for example, you're buying an $800,000 house. Oh yeah, you have an $800,000 house, but you took out a $750,000 mortgage. So net that out, it's like, it doesn't make sense. Your net worth is the value of that house minus your debt. Okay, I wouldn't call that a healthy balance sheet for yourself. And same goes for companies, if they're just because they're generating a lot of money, but then they have so much debt. That's not healthy, because when you have debt, you are at the mercy of creditors, and they can call that loan in, and that can destroy a business. And for individuals, that can also destroy not just your credit, but it can ruin your finances when you're over leveraged. So strong balance sheets, for an individual and for a company, gotta keep that in mind. That's very important. And making sure, and just to add to that, making sure that your fixed costs are not very high. So again, if something like your mortgage or your rent makes up a large portion of what you earn, that's not healthy. Because for a business, if all of a sudden their sales don't do too well, or there's a new competitor in town, but they have all these fixed costs that they have to pay for, that's not good. They could run into trouble. And same for an individual. If you have a huge mortgage or rent or car payments, and all these things are just fixed, but then you lose your job, or your partner loses your job, then what? Then you're going to be in the hole. You're going to be running into cash flow problems. So these are, characteristics in a nutshell between amongst very successful businesses. They want to be avoiding too much debt. They want to be avoiding like high fixed costs, but they're definitely keeping an eye out on how they allocate their money. They're very careful with how they deploy their money, and you should too. So have a look at how you're allocating your money, and that's part of looking at your budget and seeing where your day-to-day expenses, what they are. Keep an eye out on what your fixed expenses are too. You want to make sure that that's not too high. So always keep that in check. It's not just like a one-off thing where you look at it and then ignore it for 5 years. No, of course you have to check in with yourself. Companies do that as well. And especially when you get a raise, a lot of people have a tendency to start spending more because they're like, oh, I'm making more money. So be mindful of that. So if you have any questions, just put it in the comment section. I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. So that's it for now. Of course, if you have any suggestions for the next month Facebook Live, let me know.